Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you this cute little card that we made at my team retreat recently during our shoebox using the Glad We're Friends stamp set that you can find in the 2022 annual catalog. So let me set this aside and I'll show you how I got started. I'm going to start with the stamping for this, and I have a piece of my basic white cardstock and my Memento Tuxedo black because I want to use my Stampin Blends with this, and I'm going to stamp the little guinea pig, and then I'm going to stamp this little sentiment right on the top left hand side of my little guinea pig. I want to be able to cut this out with my die, so I want to keep that nice and tight. I've got my Stampin Blends, and so I can begin coloring. I'm going to start with 800, the lighter of the shades that I chose here, and I am going to do the little guy's ears, and then I'm going to run down the center of his body here. His little feet and his tummy. Once I have that color done, I'm going to reach for my next Stampin' Blend. This happens to be the 500. I'm going to use the bullet tip because this is a fairly tight space. I'm using a light touch so that my blends doesn't bleed out. I'm also adding a little extra coloring in some of the areas simply by going over it a couple of times to create a darker shade. And I'm going to go to the other side here. And I want to do his underarm area here a little darker, so I'm adding a few layers, and then I'm going to do his little leg and do the same thing. There we go. I've got him colored, and I want to bring in my little swoosh of Pool Party. What this does is ground my little guinea pig, simply giving him a little shadow. There we go. I've got my stamping done, and I'm ready to move on to cutting out my focal point here with my dies. Okay, I've cut my shape out with the Stylish Shape dies, and I wanted to show you this quickly because this die set is so fun. Not only does it have some basic shapes along with some banners, but it has this great stitched edging. And as you can see on the negative where I cut this from, it also has a stitched edging here on the outside so that you can use this layer for something else also. And of course, if you like my organizational idea here with the magnetic sheets and our clear mount cases, you can find all the inserts on my blog under organization. I've done these for catalogs for years. So let me set this aside and we'll start assembling. I'm going to start assembling with my Petal Pink piece of cardstock and my Hostess option, this wonderful stack of Designer Series paper. This is a great value, and it's got all kinds of patterns that you'll love creating with. I'm going to adhere this on the very bottom of my panel, like so. And then I'm going to bring in this strip of Old Olive, and I'm going to add a little adhesive here on the right, and a little adhesive here on my panel itself. And then I'm going to run some adhesive down the center. Doing it this way allows me to adhere it to my panel and have adhesive on both sides. Once I have that done, I can flip it over and simply trim to get exactly the length strip that I want, and my cardstock edges don't show. I'm going to then bring in my Petal Pink ribbon. This ribbon is so soft. I think you're really going to enjoy working with it. I'm going to wrap that around my layered panel and tie into a bow. Okay, I've got my what I call Ginny bow because it is simply a knot and a little easier for people to do. I'm going to trim those ends, and then I'm going to slide this simply by bowing my cardstock and moving it to the outside where I'd like it. There we go. Next, I'm going to bring in my cardstock base, and I'm going to fold that on the score line, and I'm going to adhere this down. I've layered and wrapped the bow first so that I can make sure that I am able to go around this panel easily. Now that I have that done, I'm going to bring in my old olive circle here that I also cut with those stylish shaped dies and my little guinea pig, and I am going to simply adhere him right here on the bottom right of that circle. And actually, I'm even going to hang off slightly because I'm going to pop this up and I want to pull that color down. I'm bringing in my dimensionals now, and I am going to add a dimensional to each of the 4 points on the circle and remove the backings. Bring my card front back over, lift up the ribbon so that I can slide this under, and adhere. At this point, I'm going to bring in my Elegant Faceted Gems and my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pick up one of these petal pink jewels and set it right here to the left of my little guy, pulling in that color quickly and easily. Last but not least is your panel. This basic white panel can be stamped at this time, or if you would prefer, you can simply set it inside and adhere later. It's that quick and easy. I just love these fun little images in the Glad We're Friends stamp set. And of course, if you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.